Yo, what's up YouTube? If you're like me, you watch a lot of funny content, mainly funny content on TikTok, but there's a whole nother side of TikTok that gives out advice on sports betting and gambling. So in this video, I'm gonna break down a ton of TikToks. I'm sure there will be some really good advice, and there will probably also be some horrible advice that I'll have to debunk with math. So if you're new to this channel, my name's Alex Monahan. I graduated from Stanford with a degree in math and computer science. The whole time I was in college, I loved to gamble. I played poker super seriously, and I wanted a career in gambling. So I first became a quantitative trader, a gambler in financial markets at places like Morgan Stanley and SIG, before starting to bet on my own once sports betting legalized in the US in 2018. Last year, I made over $200,000. I give out basically all my plays for free on social media, live stream, Twitter, stuff like that. And that's a little bit about my background. And I'm pumped for this video. I've done other content like it, but it's fun and I think it's useful. I'm not trying to, make fun of anybody who gives out bad advice. That's not the purpose of this video. I'm just trying to give out good sports betting advice. So without further ado, let's kind of get into this first clip.
To be a long-term profitable sports bettor, there's one thing you need to know. There's more people sports betting now than ever before, and if you're just getting into it, it can be a lot. Bankroll management is the number one thing you need to learn if you're going to be a successful sports bettor. So your first question might be, what is a bankroll? A bankroll is the amount of money that you set aside that you're okay with gambling, and if you lost all of it, you would be okay. You don't gamble with money you pay your bills with. Once you establish your bankroll, say you have $500 that you're going to set aside to gamble. Now you pretty much have your unit established. You may have heard this if you're new to sports betting. I'm betting 1 unit on this. I'm betting a half a unit on this. I'm betting 10 unit mega max whale. A unit is normally 1 to 5% of your bankroll. If you have $500 in your bankroll, I would say your unit should be around $10. No one is going to win 100% of their bets. That's why you have to have a bankroll. That's why you have to have units to be successful. If you have any questions about sports betting terms, just put them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. Good luck. Win your bets.
So basically what he said in this video is there is one thing you need to learn to become a profitable sports bettor, and it's how to manage your bankroll. And do not get me wrong, I don't want people to walk away from this video saying bankroll management's not important, because that's not true. I've done tons of content on this YouTube channel about optimal bankroll management. It's definitely important, but it's also a solved equation. Like the Kelly criterion, that is the optimal way to manage your sports betting bankroll. I've done content on it. It's a solved equation. It's not like there's some magic bankroll formula. And the second thing I wanted to mention is 97% of sports bettors lose money long term. Okay? There is no financial engineering. There's no bankroll management techniques that are gonna turn you from being an unprofitable sports bettor to a profitable sports bettor. So for 97% of people who are unprofitable, it literally doesn't matter what they do with their bankroll, how they manage it, they're always gonna lose money. They are unprofitable sports bettors. They keep the books in business. For the other 3%, they spend a ton of time researching, studying sharp, profitable betting strategies like arbitrage, like positive EV, like middle betting. So regardless, the point of this is to say, yes, bankroll management is important. You shouldn't be putting your entire life savings on one bet. Obviously, that's a bad idea. However, it's a solved equation. Use the Kelly criterion. What's much more important is learning how to go from, not saying you are, to be clear, but learning how to become profitable, how to be in the 3%. Spend time researching how do the pros, how do the sharps make money using strategies like arbitrage, positive EV, and middle betting. I've done videos on this YouTube channel. When I started to bet on sports, I was only betting like $1 or $2 per play. I spent basically all my time researching how do the pros do it, how do the sharps do it, how are they making money. I was spending all of my time studying how can I make money sports betting, and I think that's important to invest in your betting education. And, I was only betting small amounts of money, but as I saw, hey, I have a positive ROI, I ramped up my bankroll. I was saving up money from work, putting more into sportsbooks, growing my sports betting bankroll so I could bet more. And as I saw, hey, I'm getting a positive ROI. I'm making money arbitrage, positive EV betting. I started to put more money in my bankroll and bet more and more. And from there, my profits grew. And I think that's the right strategy. Bankroll management's important, but if you're just starting to gamble, only bet a small amount of money, right? From there, track your bets. And if you're making money, if you have a positive ROI, you can, increase your bankroll, save up more money, put it into sports betting, and bet more and more so you make more profit. But 97% of people lose money long term. No bankroll management is going to help them, right? Learn how to be in the 3%. Learn sharp betting strategies. Regardless, that's kind of my opinion on this first TikTok. Obviously, it's good advice in some ways because bankroll management, is important. Everyone should know how to manage their sports betting bankroll, but that's also the easiest thing to do. Once you're a profitable sports bettor, it's super easy to manage your bankroll. So anyways, let's get into the second TikTok.
Any spread that is 9.5 or greater, you always bet the under. And here are the two reasons why. I think it's like 60% of these games have been hitting the under over a long period of time. The reason is because when there's that big of a spread, right, that large spread, the team that is favored is either going to blow the doors off this bad team and then take the foot off the gas at the end, or the worst team is going to play unbelievable defense, just like the Jets did yesterday, and they're going to make this a tight game. Yesterday, the Jets over-under was 43.5 against the Bills, 44.5, and they just played unbelievable defense where it was never a doubt that game was going to be under. Then all of a sudden you have the Chiefs game last night. It's a 13-point favorite. What happens? Amazing defense by the Titans. This game goes into overtime 17-17. That's an automatic under. Both unders since I found this, that came across my desk, they both hit on 2-0. I'm telling you right now, when there's a spread that's 9.5 or greater, you have to bet the under.
Absolutely horrible advice. First of all, 2-0 is a tiny sample size. This guy most likely has recency bias. The week he followed this strategy, he went 2-0. Now he thinks he's a super genius. But I looked at all of the data in the 2024 season, and you would have lost $390 following this strategy if you had an $100 unit size. So this strategy would have went 10 and 13. Okay, 10 and 13. So if you were betting $100 on the under at -110 odds, traditional point spread odds, you would have lost $390. So this definitely isn't a profitable strategy. And most importantly, it's also priced into the market. Like, people think the sports books are idiots. They know if a team is a big favorite. They know if a game has blowout potential. It's already factored into the odds. It's already factored into the market. So I'll give you a simple example. Tonight, the Warriors are pretty big favorites against the Charlotte Hornets, right? They're 13-point favorites. So you may be thinking like, oh, let's avoid the first quarter point spread. So the first quarter point spread, the Warriors are 4.5 spread favorites, right? The game is just going to be starting. The Warriors are going to be playing at full force. Curry's going to be playing. Jimmy Butler's going to be playing. The Warriors are really going to be trying. So you may be thinking, oh, in the fourth quarter, maybe the Warriors are up big. And if the Warriors are up big in the fourth quarter, maybe they take their foot off the gas and the Hornets will cover the spread. So let's try to bet on let's try to bet on the Hornets fourth quarter spread at +4.5. Well, guess what? The fourth quarter spread, the Hornets are now +1.5. So FanDuel isn't stupid. Like, they're aware that this game has blowout potential. The Warriors are pretty big favorites. So the fourth quarter spread, the Warriors are only 1.5 point spread favorites. Whereas the first quarter spread, they're 4.5 point spread favorites. So long story short, blowout potential, weather, all this type of stuff, it's already factored into the market. Sportsbooks know if it's snowing or not, right? Like, you hear a lot of people be like, oh, it's snowing in Buffalo, we should bet the under, it's going to be hard to run and pass the ball. That's already factored into the odds that these books are putting out. It's already factored in to the market.
If you're just getting into sports gambling, here's one thing I wish I would have known before I even got into it. Everyone says don't bet parlays. Parlays are fine. You can bet parlays, bet 3 layers, whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. The part that matters is that you know what a hedge is. When you hedge a bet, you end up guaranteeing yourself that you're at least not going to lose, or you'll win at least a little bit of money, but you know you're not going to lose. So let's say you're betting money lines on football. You have Packers money line, you have Bears money line, you have Cowboys money line, you have $100 on it to win $400. All of them are -150 favorites. Say the Packers and the Bears win. Now, since the Cowboys are the last game in that parlay, you could put $100 on the team that's +180. So that way, you're not going to lose your money. You'll win at least $80 because you'll lose your first 100. And in the end, no harm, no foul. You won $80. You didn't win a bunch of money, but you won a little bit. And that's one thing these books don't want you to know.
So basically what he's saying in this video is the key to profitable sports betting on parlays, making money, is knowing how to hedge. So if we make a 3-leg parlay, let's kind of go through an example. This is completely false. This is really bad advice, and it's just not true, right? Like, let's go through a simple example. I think that's the best way to do it. Let's say I make a 3-leg NBA parlay. Every single leg is the traditional point spread odds, -110, -110, -110. So here I have, Pistons on the spread, Trailblazers on the spread, and then the Hawks on the spread. A 3-leg parlay at -110 odds. This is FanDuel Sportsbook. I'm putting down 100 to win $595 and profit. This is plus 595 odds. So what he's saying is, if we win the first 2 legs of our parlay, what we can do is we can hedge on the final leg. So if we win the first 2 legs of our parlay, the Pistons cover, the Blazers cover, what we can do is we can take Grizzlies minus 8.5 and hedge to guarantee a profit. So let's kind of break down this math, and I'll show you why this is really bad advice and is not going to make you money sports betting. So sportsbooks, they set their point spreads at minus 110 odds. Same thing with their totals, because they think both outcomes are 50-50 approximately to occur. So basically the sportsbook saying Pistons minus 8.5, Jazz plus 8.5, both plays are minus 110 odds. You're laying 110 to profit 100. Both of those outcomes are roughly a 50-50 probability. That's what the sportsbook's doing. So basically, when you're betting on spreads, on totals at minus 110 odds, you're betting 110 to profit 100. You have to win above 52.4% of your plays of your bets to be profitable long term. So long story short, sharp pro sports bettor syndicates, they'll win on spreads on totals 55% of the time at minus 110 odds. They'll win 55% of their bets, only losing 45%. So they have a real edge, winning 55, only losing 45, and that's why they're profitable long term. But again, most sports bettors, 97% of sports bettors lose money, and that's because they can only win on spreads and totals 50% of the time. So let's get back to hedging, right? Most gamblers are going to win on spreads and totals 50% of the time. So what's the probability in a 3-leg parlay you win your first 2 bets? 50% times 50%, so 25%. So basically, 75% of the time, after the first 2 legs of your parlay, you're already going to have lost. You're going to be down $100. The other 25% of the time, you'll be on the final leg. And this is when he's saying to hedge. So if you pull up a hedge calculator, what you'll see is what we'd want to do if we win the first 2 legs of our parlay, which is Trailblazer spread and Piston spread. What we'd want to do is, just using a hedge calculator, we'd want to bet on the Grizzlies. So we had Hawks plus 8.5 in our parlay, but now we want to hedge it to lock in a profit. So what we'd want to do is we'd want to bet $364.05 on Grizzlies minus 8.5 to hedge to guarantee a profit of $230.95. But here's where the math breaks down. 75% of the time, our parlay's already going to have lost. We're going to be down $100. The other 25% of the time, we're going to hedge our final leg of our parlay to guarantee to lock in a profit of $230.95. What's the ROI? The ROI of doing that, assuming you win your spreads and totals 50% of the time, is negative 17.26%. So this is a horrible strategy, assuming the first 2 legs of your parlay are going to win and then hedging the final leg. All you're doing is you're paying the juice on the final game twice, which is super unprofitable, right? You're betting Hawks plus 8.5 and Grizzlies minus 8.5 at minus 110 odds. So putting down 110 to win 100 in profit. So you're betting $220 total when you're only going to get back 210. So you're just paying the juice on the final game twice. So long story short, there's a super unprofitable strategy. What's much more important to focus on is how can I win on spreads and totals above 52.4% of the time. Hedging is not going to solve your problems. If you're winning on spreads and totals 50% of the time, you're never going to be profitable. Doesn't matter how you hedge, doesn't matter how you manage your bankroll, you're not going to be profitable. The break-even win rate for spreads and totals is 52.4%. So the only thing you should focus on, it doesn't matter if you're placing parlay straight bets, is how can I win on spreads and totals above 52.4% of the time. Sharp pro sports bettor syndicates, they win on spreads and totals about 55% of the time. 54% of the time, 56% of the time, something in that range. And again, that's not easy to do. It's hard. Sportsbooks, Vegas are setting these totals, these over-unders, these spreads to be roughly 50-50, and you need a real edge to win 55%, only losing 45% to be profitable long-term. So this hedging strategy he recommended has an ROI of negative 17.26%. Long story short, it's horrible. What you need to do is just focus on how can I win spreads and totals? How can I increase my win rate? And strategies like positive EV betting, finding line discrepancies, that's how you're going to do that.
Over under 212, right? The money's on the over. You would never know. You would never know he rigged that game because he's going to rig it in the favor of the stars, right? So now you're playing that game. This is a game you're going to have 40-50 because all I have to do is just blow the whistle every time I think you got touched. You have a 3 in this question, and 1, 3 go in. All I'm doing is just putting points on the board, free throws. So this is not a game you can see that, oh, this is, you know what I mean? I'm calling and 1, and 1. You know, that's when you get all of that. I'm not going to foul you out. I'm not going to foul you out. Right? I'm going to call a bunch of fouls and a whole bunch of people that have no importance to this. I want you to score 40. I want you to score 40 because the number rises. Wow. Like if you're a referee, you're talking about point spread, you can see that shit coming from a mile away.
So a guy like Lou Dort is the defensive guy is going to stop one of those offensive guys. We're going to put him in the valve. He's on that offensive guy.
Yeah, that's when you get them quick, easy fouls. Like you can tell when you're trying to, cover the spread because now you're calling, like, if you're the underdog, I'm trying to get the star players in foul trouble so they don't have the rhythm. It's little things.
So I see a lot of content that the NBA, the NFL, they're rigged, they're scripted, so you should never bet on sports. I've even had interactions with friends, people who say, how can you bet on sports when these games are rigged? And here's the truth of it. There's definitely games that are rigged, right? Like there have been scandals that have broken, like Tim Donaghy. There are definitely games that are rigged in college sports and professional sports. It definitely happens, right? People have incentives, misaligned incentives. However, the truth is that doesn't really affect me, right? Tonight, the Hawks play the Grizzlies. The Hawks are 8.5 point underdogs. For all I know, the game could be rigged for the Hawks or the Grizzlies. I don't know. I'm not in on the rigging. So the game is 50-50 to be rigged in my favor or against me. So long story short, every single year I place thousands of bets. Even if a small fraction of those games are rigged, 50% of those games are going to be rigged in my favor, right? For the team that I bet on. The other 50% of games may be rigged or have a referee who has an incentive for the other team to win, the team that I didn't bet on. So it should kind of balance out long term. It's not a good reason to not bet on sports. There's even strategies like arbitrage betting. Arbitrage betting guarantees you a risk-free profit. It's basically when two sportsbooks have such different odds that you can day trade them, day trade their inefficiencies, bet the over on one book, the under on a different book to guarantee a risk-free profit. So I don't really care. If I'm arbitrage betting, I don't really care if that player, if the refs are rigging it for him to go over or under, because it doesn't matter. Regardless of what happens, I'm going to make a profit. And even if you're positive EV betting, just placing straight bets on, NBA money lines, point spreads, there's a 50-50 chance that the game is rigged in your favor or against you. So long story short, NBA rigged. Probably true. Some games are rigged. Some players, Jonte Porter, Terry Rozier, there's been some interesting news that's come out over the past year or so, but that doesn't really affect my profit or my mindset about sports betting. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, the purpose of it is to give out good sports betting advice. I'm not trying to make fun of anyone who says things that I don't agree with. I just think it's an interesting way to give out what I think is good sports betting advice. So I appreciate your time. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Also, let me know other video ideas or questions. You can drop them in the comments. I love making sports betting content, so any videos you want to see me make, drop them below. And again, thanks so much for your time.